Heidi and Frank Show. We're hanging out with Judge Alex from the highly rated Courtroom Show, now in its 8th season on My 13, weekdays, 2 p.m. So I'm sure you've seen that and checked it out. Thank you for coming in.
Always a pleasure.
I know you're a busy man, doing all the taping and living in Miami and go back and forth. This has got to be rough as hell. But did you ever...
12-hour days, studying case law.
Yeah, going through, from, being a cop when you first started out in law to... did you ever imagine that you'd be doing 8 seasons as a television judge?
No, absolutely not. I can assure you that nobody sits around going, one day I'm going to be a TV judge. It's not a career path that most people...
All judges aren't
That's what I want to do.
That's the dream.
In fact, I'd been on the bench for 10 years, and I was actually 2 weeks from my appointment with the governor to... I had a very good shot at a vacancy on the appeals court. And I was the only one out of all the applicants who came out with a unanimous recommendation by the committee, so it was looking really good. And then all of a sudden, 20th Television, the syndication branch of Fox, called and said, we want to do a show. So it was
of
a
course,
major...
everything happens at one time, right?
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, what do I do?
Well, like my friend said, it's good to have options, but...
True.
Crazy fork in the road, because in television, 8 out of 10 new shows fail every year.
Right.
So
8 seasons, that's great.
Yeah.
When you're on the bench and you got your robe on, has there been times that you weren't wearing any pants and nobody knew it?
No, why does everybody think that?
Because that's what everybody else would do, right?
That is the question that most people ask me. What do you wear under the robe? Now, my robe only comes down to just below my knees, so if I wasn't wearing anything, it'd look really stupid from there down.
Well, I think I'd want a full length. I wouldn't go with the mini robe.
Well, then, the shorty robe like your dad used to wear.
It looks like a Bond go-go dancer from behind the bench. I'm like, wait, that's a little short.
Just as stupid.
So there was a story about a judge who was sitting, on the bench and had his robe on, and he was had a penis pump.
Yes.
Under there.
And I think that was a Florida case, by the way.
Of course it was.
Definitely.
What did we say? Of course it's Florida.
No, actually, I'm not sure that it was. But,
you didn't know that guy.
That.
You don't know each other. You're just like, oh yeah, judge. All know each other. They're all in the newsletter.
Let's start with I'm not that guy.
You're not that guy. You're not that guy.
I do not even know the guy.
Do you know Judge Judy?
Yeah,
Have you met
her?
You've met
her,
Judge Judy?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
She's nice. She's actually a nice lady when she's
she's
not ripping your head off.
Right. When you're not before her.
Has there ever been anybody who was standing in front of you as the defendant and you're the judge that you thought just fell in love with, as far as like, oh, they couldn't have possibly done this? I mean, is it hard to be that guy who you can't think guilty or not guilty? You have to listen to the facts. Is there somebody that's like, look at that angel? I just couldn't.
No. I mean, there are people who have appeared in front of me who I felt bad for, because I thought, but for a really stupid mistake, they would be having a normal life, but they did something like, the crime I hate the most, DUI, manslaughter, because you have people there. I don't mind sending a rapist to prison. I don't mind sending an armed robber to prison, but people like you or me or you who are just never getting in trouble, leading normal lives, parents, and all of a sudden they stop on the way home to get a drink with some friends, and they end up having too many, and all of a sudden they're going to prison because they T-boned some car and killed somebody. And just like that, they're gone for 8-9 years in state prison with all the armed robbers and murderers and rapists. They don't give you a separate DUI prison. So I feel bad for people like that.
Because they probably didn't get rehabilitated in prison for their crime.
Nobody gets rehabilitated in prison.
Yeah.
They gave up on that in the 70s.
Really?
That doesn't happen. I mean, they like to say, oh, we have programs, and they do have programs, but if you don't want to change, you're not going to change. But what does happen is jurors have a hard time picturing people as criminals. They think that people who do heinous things look heinous. And sometimes they're right. Sometimes you look at the guy and go, I wouldn't want to see this guy in an alley. But sometimes they look like anybody else. Serial killers like Ted Bundy, they look perfectly normal. Casey Anthony. The jury has a hard time believing that any mother would do that to her child, let alone this young, attractive mother.
Because she so looked like anybody who lives next door to, you in a neighborhood.
Absolutely.
It just looks like a regular
And that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Criminal defense lawyers take advantage of that and dress up their clients in sweaters, give them glasses even when they don't need glasses, to make them look harmless, and then jurors have a hard time convicting.
With the world being, smaller with social media, and, the Casey Anthony case, and everybody knowing about it, knowing what she looks like, is it hard to ever actually get a fair trial because of the media just always horning in on the crime?
I would say it's harder.
But,
like that case I tried that's a movie, it took me a month to pick a jury because I had to deal with all the pretrial publicity. Right. If the jury does what they're instructed to by the judge, the defendant will get a fair trial. That's avoid media coverage. Because everything you hear outside the courtroom is hearsay. The reporter didn't witness it. They're getting it from someone else. So the jury needs to hear it in the courtroom from the actual witnesses who saw it.
It's always tough, too, though, because I watch a lot of the crime shows, Law and Orders and everything, and when you know, one of the attorneys says something and the other attorney will say, you know, objection, okay, sustained, please disregard that last comment.
Yeah.
It's like, I heard it. You can't unring a bell. Like, I'm a jury member. I still heard the comment.
Yes.
But that means you can't, it doesn't get on the thing, so we're going to deliberate.
In your deliberations, don't bring it up, don't discuss it, you know. I mean, obviously, if it is something very crucial, if it is something that is devastating, then the judge grants a mistrial. But most of the time, it's minimal stuff, and they just disregard that. Don't use it in your deliberations. But if it was something big, like, for example, the defendant gave a confession and it was suppressed before trial, jury doesn't know about it. It's not going to hear, they're not going to hear about the confession. All of a sudden, the officer talks about the confession. That's unfixable. Results in a mistrial. Pick another jury and try it again.
Judge Alex hanging out with us. I was called to jury duty. I didn't actually get up to the interview process where they can decide whether they want me to be on the jury or not. But I was sitting back, you know, in the courtroom watching all these people go through it and people getting rejected and people getting accepted to the jury and seeing people who didn't want to be on the jury saying things. It's like, okay.
Trying to get out of it.
He obviously wants to get rejected. But then watching the lawyers and how they would manipulate it to where an obvious idiot gets put on the jury because they want that idiot in the box for them. Is there any way as a judge you can say, that guy's an idiot, I'm sorry. I'm going to trump your selection and get rid of him?
The only way you as a judge can force seat or unseat somebody is really for the defendant. An example would be an individual who's being excluded for race, gender, national origin, something like that. But you have people who you really don't want on the jury, but as long as they can listen to the evidence, as long as they can think about it and make a decision, you know, if they're out there, like sometimes we have people who are just totally out of touch with reality, show up for jury duty. Those people you don't see, but the reality is neither side really wants them on there either, because they're a loose cannon. But normally they actually have a constitutional right to serve as a juror, so in Florida.
I just saw that Kim Kardashian was pulled over. She's probably got to go to traffic court because she had her windows tinted, and I think she was actually talking on her cell phone at the same time.
Right.
Must not have been tinted enough if you saw her talking on her cell phone.
Should have gone with a limo tint.
Could have gone darker. Just got with the one charge.
So she got pulled over because her tints were too dark?
Yeah, I guess in California,
dark tints.
I've had to do a fix-it ticket. In California, I have window tint too. It's hot. It's in the valley. It's summertime. It gets hot, so I have window tinting. I've gotten pulled over, and they write me a ticket, and I have to do a fix-it, so I have to take all the tinting off. Go have them sign off on the fact that I did the fix-it.
And put all the tinting back on?
I put it all right back on. Of course I do. Yeah.
That's insane.
Scofflaw you.
I like to have tinted windows, and it's ridiculous in the state of California that I can't have. I don't know what is it.
You can have them tinted. They just don't want them to be quite that dark.
Yeah, they want to be able to see in the car. I don't think you can ever tint the windshield.
No, you can't tint the windshield.
No.
And
I don't.
Only the top border.
Right.
Yeah, that looks so dumb, though. When you got all the other windows tinted and I can still see in the front window.
Right as day.
You're cool. I can see you in there. But I didn't know tinted windows were supposed to keep the car cool. I thought it was supposed to make you look cool.
No, it's supposed to keep the sun out.
Keeps the heat out.
Right.
I didn't know. I was like...
Really?
I thought it was just...
It's like
people
sunglasses.
Want to look like they're
Sunglasses
gangsters.
are keeping the sun... Yes, that's my... yes, I roll up here. I want people to think that I'm a gangster.
With your 22s and your Escalade and your tinted windows. I was like, who do you think she is?
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj?
You really thought I was trying to look cool. That's hilarious.
I didn't think that it actually kept the sun out. I thought it's like dark. A hot car is going to be a hot car.
That was just a little sample of the Heidi and Frank Show on 95.5 KLOS. To get more samples like this and hear all the fun we have, you can do that at 955KLOS.com. Now, to get the show in its entirety, on demand, and if you want to watch the show, we webcast it every day, all you have to do is go to HeidiandFrank.com and become a premium package member. Do it right now.